turning. That's a penalty, is it? No, he's still going. Oh, how about that? How about that?
Carried on into the penalty area. Here he is. And then Giroud. What a goal. Brilliantly worked. Fantastically finished.
Here's Ramsey. And Alexis Sanchez. Great footwork. 3-0. Liverpool blown away. A 3-goal, 8-minute Arsenal blast.
Alexis blocked by Newcastle defender. Still not clear. Wow, what a volley. Where others failed, Ozil has succeeded. Well done, Arteta. Plenty of hit here.
Yes! Arsenal have their breakthrough. Mikel Arteta. They deserve it.
Oh, they're behind again. It's amazing. It's Aaron Ramsey. That's the response of Arsenal. Andy Wobi, nicely done. Brilliantly done. Bellerin, Walcott. Sensational Arsenal goal.
Is that a handball? No. Nothing the play can do. Great, what a goal! Arsenal have made it 3-0. Jack Wilshere with an absolute thunderbolt.
Hello and welcome to the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast. Welcome those tuning in on Periscope. We are now on Twitch as well. You can get us, that's right, you can get us live on Twitch, and welcome to you subscribers on YouTube. Those listening on the podcast, welcome to you lads too. You're getting us later on your good podcast. I'm absolutely just dribbling on with shit because I'm actually trying to find stuff as I'm talking. So you can get me at Gunatez. You get the podcast at Arsenal CET Pod. I've got a couple of new faces though. Well, not really new faces, but Tony, you're with us. You're just part of the furniture each week. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm always here. Can't get rid of me. Still don't pay me enough. But here I am.
It was quite funny. I put in the chat about 2 hours ago, recorded in 2 hours, and everybody went, can't make it, can't make it, can't make it. And I'm talking about Addy and Jack, so them boys couldn't make it. But we do have Schwinn who popped in and said, I can join. How are you, buddy?
Not too bad. Happy to, be the reliable one around when the other boys haven't turned up. And to be honest, I'm just happy to be a part of a world where Bukayo Saka plays for Arsenal. That's it for me. That's all I'm going to say on that.
It is, and we will get into that a bit later. Let's talk about it. That's what we're here for. Arsenal v Leeds. A game, Tony, that I was leading up to was really surprised. Not surprised, I was really worried. Me and Addy were saying that the Villa game was a game that, we wanted, and then Leeds game is another must-win for us. But you didn't see it as much, mate, but it was good to get a win, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, of course, we want to win every game, but look, there's not many games that are must-win. I think a lot of the times you see stuff labelled as must-win, and it's because usually the broadcaster has paid a lot of money for it, is trying to sucker fans in to watch it so they get their ad revenue. But in reality, there's not too many games that are must-win, especially not at this part of the season. But yeah, look, obviously we want to win it, and we did. But yeah, it's not. Look, if we won it and we're 10th? If we'd have lost it, we'd have been 11th. That's not a must-win. It's not win and you go top, or lose and you're in the relegation zone. They're must-win games.
Yeah, okay. Your thoughts on the lineup, buddy, when it came out?
Yeah, obviously, I expected Odegaard to start. I said it on the podcast with you and Addy a couple of weeks ago. I thought he's tailor-made for Leeds. I think Pepe's a bit hard done by to get dropped. Probably, over the last 4 games, probably been our best player if you look at all 4 together. Apart from that, Smith Rowe wide wasn't ideal, but as in when we're looking at the teams, don't think many of us would have picked that. And I maybe would have gone for Gabby. I think he's sort of tailor-made for the way Leeds play as well. But as Arteta sees them every week and every day, and knows what he's doing. I know earlier in the season I was concerned that Smith Rowe's pace is going to cause him issues because they're going to feel like, we can play him on the wing because he's quick. And I was glad that even though he played on the wing, he wasn't like they tried to get him to hug the touchline and be a pacey winger. And we've seen them try that before, especially in the Europa League, where he played left or right, and it was like they'd told him go and be a winger. I don't mind him playing wide if he's going to be interchanging and moving about. But so it worked quite well. But on paper, when you saw the team, I think in the group chat there was a few of us going, "Oh no, not on the left wing." Like,
Schwinn, your thoughts on all that, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, of course, Kieran Tierney and Partey are still missing, although it seems like Tierney's made it back to full training. So we'll see how that goes come this weekend. Up top, again, very interesting dynamics. I was expecting Saka to start on the left, perhaps, and Smith Rowe in the middle, Odegaard to start from the right. Just to have some variation down the left. I feel we're a bit too right-footed down our left side, especially with Kieran Tierney missing, and I thought that could be one way to change things around and, try and get some more variation to the balls into the box. But, when the result is what it was, it's very hard to argue against the methods that Arteta chose for the day.
Yeah, well, I didn't watch the game live because I was not getting up at 3:30 a.m. Shout out to all you Aussies who did. Not for me. Them days are over. Odegaard, Smith Rowe, I wasn't shocked, but I kept asking myself, how's this going to work? Like, I'm sitting there going, okay, I don't know much about this Odegaard. Smith Rowe is not a winger, and we all know that. So I didn't even really look at what Tony was talking about in the chat, what the boys were talking about. And then Saka, well, look, I think Saka, you can play anywhere now. He's that good. But that was my big concern. I was like, how is this going to work? Aubameyang, I was glad to see up front, though. I thought Lacazette, he made way, but what he meant to do, Lacazette's, he's been playing pretty well. So I was a bit, disappointed to see Lacazette on the bench. But after seeing the result, I'm like, yeah, okay, see Lacazette. Like, it's going to be a team where I think we're going to see plenty of rotations now, boys.
Yeah, especially with Europa League coming in, starting this week. I think there is an element of rotation, and perhaps as Tony mentioned about Pepe, I think there is an element of keeping him fit as well. Perhaps in Europe, he can be a bit more effective. In the Premier League, the game is a lot more physical, a lot more low blocks tend to be, something that he faces and struggle against. So there could be some of that variation going on just to, keep legs fresh and make sure that we don't put anyone in the red zone.
I'm going to do things a little bit different this time, Tony. We usually go through the each play and whatnot. I'm just going to get it out of the way straight off the bat. Saka, a shout out for a couple of penalties. You want to go through them, Tony?
well, yeah. I mean, we're skipping the first.
We'll come back. We're going to come back to the first goal, and I'll go through that. But I thought, let's just get the Saka out of the road now.
Let Schwinn go first on the first penalty because the dog's barking, and I know we have opposite views anyway. So,
okay, go on, Schwinn.
I mean, for me, it's a stonewall penalty. It's clear as fucking day. He's running into the box with the ball. There's no attempt made at all to play the ball. And, he's basically been leveled and brought to the ground. He was coming pretty fast, and it does seem like, to an extent, that he may have been losing his footing. But at that point, you have to give the attacker the benefit of the doubt, especially when the defender played the ball the way he did, by which I mean he did not play the ball at all. Classic case of obstruction. The ball was not, in my opinion, the ball was still very much in play. It's not as if the ball was deemed unplayable at the end of the incident. And it's a clear penalty for me. I think because we got another penalty afterwards, so very shortly after, and again, a very clear penalty for me once again. Maybe this incident is not being talked about, but I'm telling you, when Leeds scored their second goal, I was so nervous because I was not sure where this game was going. I think at halftime, the pundits mentioned on BT Sport that either this is going to end 6-0 or 3-3. And I could see that. I could see how both teams wanted to attack and have more of the ball and threaten. And I was quite nervous. But after that incident, the first one, I was really distraught. And it just seemed like, decisions have not been going our way. And for some reason or the other, we've been dropping points in games. And a lot of times I feel, we talk about the referees. I'm not saying that most of our performances are simply based on officiating decisions, but you have to feel hard done by, and just the inconsistency in refereeing just in general has been horrible. So for me, both are clear penalties.
Yeah, so this is where I differ. Interestingly, one thing you said is it's clear obstruction. Obstruction isn't a penalty; it's an indirect free kick. But that's going into semantics. For me, the defender leans on him, and I don't want to see a penalty. Obviously, for us, I do, but I don't want it to be that is seen as a penalty every time a defender leans on someone. Of course, he's moving at pace, and there is contact. I'm not denying that, but I don't really think it should be a penalty. I think it's really soft. I don't think it should have been overturned though, because it's not a clear and obvious error. Even though I don't think it's a penalty, the questions you ask yourself for is it clear and obvious error is, did the defender touch the ball? No. Did the defender touch the man? Yes. Well, then it's not clear and obviously an error. But I don't want football to become that every time a player is touched, it's a penalty. So for me, I think overturning it was wrong, but I don't think it should have been a penalty in the first place, which is weird because it sounds like I'm arguing with myself. Look, and one thing that is a big problem is, and you mentioned it, is inconsistencies. We could see that challenge 10 times and it would probably be 7-3 or 6-4 in favour of a penalty. And for me, that's the problem. The inconsistencies are a joke, and we'd hope VAR would level that out, because you'd have people looking at the incident so they can see it clearly and in daylight, so to speak. And that's just not happened. I would say football now seems more inconsistent than it ever has before, which is silly, really. But yeah, for me, the first one, I'm not too mad about it. I don't think it's I thought in real time, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a clear penalty. But then when I seen the replays and whatnot, I actually thought his leg came across to Saka and tripped him, which it didn't. It was more shoulder to shoulder or shoulder on Saka, which for me is allowed. You're allowed some shoulder contact in the game. I mean, the second one, there's no debate. It's as clear as you're going to get. It's not a red card. I was surprised that he didn't get booked. Not that it made much difference at the end of the day. But what really surprised me is a lot of the media straight after the game, which Shrim would have seen on Sky Sports, and then the next day, all of the rest watch are talking about a potential foul on Bamford at 4-2. I mean, never in a million years is it a foul, and even if it is, if that's a penalty, then Saka's one that wasn't given is 2 penalties, because the one on Saka was a lot. Even as someone that doesn't think it should have been a penalty, I think it was a lot more of a penalty than the one on Bamford. But the media decided to make a song and dance out of that one.
You're muted. I got on mute, boys. Fucking while Tony was talking, I was listening, but I just quickly flicked over to Liverpool. Their bastards are up 2-0. That wasn't like that 5 minutes ago, was it?
They scored 2 in 3 minutes.
Fuck, dirty bastards. Okay, so yeah, you two might disagree with each other, I guess. Is that what's happening? And for me, I'm with Schwinn. They're both penalties for me. I can't see how they weren't. I think he just, unless it's the way Saka goes down or something, I don't know what it is, but I could sit there and look at it all day. I was screaming at the TV like you boys, penalty. I've looked back at 1 or 2 replays yesterday because I knew I was doing this podcast. I wanted to have another look back this morning because I forgot what I looked at yesterday. But for me at the time, it was a penalty, and Saka, he's just one of them players that makes it look. You know what I mean? Like he makes it look like it's a penalty too. You watch him and you think, he's always seems to be getting beat up. He always seems to be, falling over and things like that. Not that that's a bad thing. Look, I like that he does that in the box, because at last, if we've got a player who's milking a penalty, I'm happy with that. And so, whether that's Tony.
there is a bit of an argument there that he is clearly targeted, and I don't think he makes things look like fouls at all. I think generally quite the opposite, but it may be in ref's mind that he goes down a lot, and sometimes that always doesn't go in your favour. Like Jack Grealish I actually saw the stat yesterday by accident. He's just under double the amount of fouls on him than anyone else in the league, and he gets that reputation of being a diver because he dives, but also because it's like, he is fouled that much. And I think Saka's getting that, like, are they always fouls when it's 15 times a game? And it is, because he just gets targeted. And to be honest, I thought for our third goal, he could have had another penalty. Like, Alioski had no answer to him, and his answer was, if I'm close enough to him, kick him, and if I'm not close enough to kick him, pull him. And for the third goal, he was all over him. Mbappe 2-1, by the way. For the third goal, he was pulling his shirt for about 10 seconds while Saka dribbled across the box. So I don't think he made it look like anything. I just think it was what it was. For me, it's not a dive. It's not a penalty. It was just nothing. I do agree with what Shun said. I thought the ball was still in play, but for me, that doesn't come into it.
Fucking had a bet Barcelona 2-1, and now fucking and Red Bull, and it's totally the opposite. Fuck you.
This might be offside. It's very close.
Let's look at it, actually. Okay, let's go back. Look, it was great to see Aubameyang. It really was, boys. It was great to see Aubameyang being Aubameyang again, Schwinn. He gets the first goal, and I will say, an assist from yours truly, Granite.
You know what yours truly means, right?
What?
You're not Granit Xhaka. You are aware of that.
Look, I got him on Instagram. Okay, he was very happy. He sent me a text message and said, "Look, Tez, mate, a great game it was. I think I was the player of the match. I think he was saying. So can't argue with the bloke. Anyway, go Schwinn.
So good. I mean, when he's running at players like that, first of all, the movement, right? As Tony talked about, Smith Rowe moving inside or dropping deeper to provide support in midfield, which was needed on the day, especially with Thomas Partey missing. And we know Leeds like to come and play. They're not just going to sit back and let you come at them. Opens up the wide channel for Aubameyang to come in, drags the defender out, creating more distance between the two center backs. And when he's going to be running at you at that speed with that movement, it's going to be so difficult for a defender to find his bearings, maintain them, and then also try and get the ball away from him. And to find that opening the way he did, to slot it into the back of the net near post, it's just exceptional. It's world-class play. And for someone who has been lacking confidence and has been struggling a little bit, I think this game did him a world of good. And we saw that especially in the second half, taking players on, dropping shoulders and making players make decisions as opposed to just, forcing errors from his end. Fantastic performance. Great to see him back in his flow. And, this is a crucial part of the season now with the Europa League coming in as well. And I'm just so enthused for him. And hopefully he can just, maintain this and build on this.
Look, he was very good. Tony, anything? Obviously, I'm going to talk about this. You're going to let you talk about the second goal, which was the penalty. Anything else in that first half before we go into the second half?
Just on Aubameyang's first goal, I mean, there's a few things but people go, he can't play up front because his hold-up play is not good enough and whatnot. And they're right, but it is horses for courses. When you're looking to stretch the pitch and rotate with players, then he's much more useful than Lacazette in them instances. As I said, it's horses for courses. For me, with his goal, although he does do well, and again, where he starts central and goes to the left, so people go, he could have just done that if he was playing from the left, but he can't because it's a completely different role. He's unmarked because he's drifted from the middle out to the left for the goal. It's very good from him, but it's piss poor from the defender. Show him on the outside. He's right-footed. Don't show him on his right foot. It's also piss poor from the keeper. I mean, for me, the keeper was at fault for for 3 of the goals, the first 3. Like, it's not like Aubameyang. I don't think he caught it right, to be honest. He didn't hit it with conviction. It didn't go right next to the post. Yeah, for me it was. And what I know, people say, the keeper was expecting him to open his body and go the other side, but the defender had covered that pretty well. I don't think it would have been possible. These would have been very hard. And even if that was possible, if it goes there, it don't matter what the keeper's doing. He can't save it. So for me, you should just focus on what you can save. If that was Leno, I'd have been very disappointed. But yeah, it shows that. I mean, I'm not comparing him to Henry, but Henry obviously always played down the middle and drifted out to the left. But now when Aubameyang does it, people go, "Oh yeah, see, that's because he's not a striker. He's actually more of a left winger." No, it's just that free license to roam.
Yeah, the only other thing I was in that first half, and I know
3-1.
Yeah, I was just saying that too. Fucking unreal. Bellerin, look, he had a pretty good game, but I remember in the first half, I'm probably getting a shitty. I don't think he's that good, boys. Like, I'm watching him and I'm like, there was a shot there in the first half where it was just a haywire of a shot, and he could have. At this stage of the game, like, we're not winning like 4-2. Obviously, it might have even been 1-0 or something. And
the shot you're talking about was inside the first 5 minutes. But look, I think Bellerin's shit, but I'm not going to judge a right back on a shot with his left foot after 3 minutes of a game.
Yeah, no, I'm not judging him just on that, but it's just like, I don't know, he just seems to get into, Tierney, like he runs up and down, you know what you're going to get out of him. Where Bellerin, I think he's off his game a bit, boys. Like, his speed's not there like it used to be. He's third. His next stage of the play is not there. Like, he can run past somebody really quick with the ball, and then next minute the ball's fucking, what a waste of time. Things like that I was watching, and I'm like, fucking hell. I just remember screaming his name a few times. I can't remember exact key points, but yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't screaming it in celebration when he scored?
No, it wasn't. I thought, because I thought to myself after he scored, I thought Bellerin's going to be that, like, oh, look at Bellerin, oh shitty, we got a right back who's why'd we start Cedric and fucking or something. I just all the Bellerin lovers, mate. You know what they're like, bunch of cunts. It really makes it hard, boys, when I do a podcast a couple of days after a game. I'll be honest, it's fucking hard. It's hard for a man who's had a stroke. Okay, Schwinn, going to half time. We're up 2-0. Coming out, Bellerin gets a goal.
That was in the first half, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was just in the first half. Sorry, just in the first half. Yeah.
I mean, once again, Bukayo Saka, in the middle of things, and just taking players on and trying to find, that smallest window to get a shot. But I think he did really well to maintain balance and shrug off all the sort of physicality that was coming his way. And then I think the movement in the box, for the first time, I thought we loaded the box quite a bit, which is something we don't usually see. And that's sort of what led to the intricate play. Dani Ceballos did really well to, I think, didn't he nutmeg Alioski, I think, to find Bellerin there.
Yeah,
and then
he nutmeg someone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Bellerin also did really well, to give him some credit, because I'm also not a big fan. I don't think he knows how to strike a ball really well. He doesn't get into good positions, and he's quite comfortable in close control situations. But yeah, you're right, Tez. The pace is lacking. Defensively, he has his baggage, and we know that he struggled. In fact, Leeds' second goal was to an extent on him as well, in my opinion. And he does struggle in those moments, but he did really well in that particular moment to create that separation, which is a bit to do with his pace, although he's lacking some of it, but he still has something there. And then near post finish, simple 3-0, and to be honest, very important goal, I thought, because Leeds have a goal in them, and at 2-1, it's a very different game than at 3-1. So good goal. Good to see a different type of goal from the Arsenal as well, and comfortable going into halftime.
Yeah, it was. It was very, very. Oh, I'm off mute, am I? For fuck's sake. Yeah. It was good going into half time. It was good going into 3-0. Like Tony, I was actually thinking, look, fucking happy days. I'll go and do something else because we've got this game done. But Leeds snuck back. And but before that, we come out and Aubameyang gets his another one, Tony, in the 47th minute, an assist by Smith Rowe.
Yeah, I mean, Schwinn obviously just said the third was a different type of goal, and it was, but it's born of playing people, everyone behind Aubameyang could all pass the ball. I mean, people are going to think what they will about Xhaka, but the man can pass the ball. Ceballos overcomplicates things, but the man can pass the ball. Smith Rowe, Saka, Odegaard are all cultured passers of the ball. So it's a different goal because we've given ourselves different options to what we've had in the last few weeks. And to an extent, the fourth goal is a different goal than we've scored recently. It starts with a nice little interchange between Saka and Aubameyang on the halfway line. Saka drives, he gets his shot blocked, but then the high pressure, we win it back. I think it was Cedric sort of inside a bit as well from the left-back position. So that's a kind of slight change to how we've been doing things. And then Smith Rowe drives into the box, which is something that wasn't happening before Smith Rowe was in the team. And look, it's definitely a shot. The first, I sent a voice note to the group chat straight away, laughing because I was like, there's 100% a shot from Smith Rowe. But Aubameyang's alive at the back post and scores a simple, I know it's his head, but a simple tap in and collects the match ball. It's funny, I saw Arsenal done a little video on Twitter, obviously without the fake noise, and the microphones turned up, and Xhaka runs over celebrating. And the first thing he said is, "That was a shot, 100%. That was a shot." And Smith Rowe just loves it.
Yeah, fucking, you know that. Oh, fuck, I should stay off that. You know that. Did you watch Super Bowl halftime show, boys?
Yep.
with that dude singing, what's his The Weekend in the fucking memes, whatever you want to call them, going around with the fucking lights and the spinning in the bathroom bit. And I just come across one that said fucking William looking for Saka in the bathroom. That's so classic. But I got because that was obviously, William come on, Smith Rowe goes off. But then there was a goal just before that, wasn't there? Leeds got one. 4-1. Talk us through the Leeds goal, Schwinn, if you remember.
No, I don't. Take it away, John. I remember the second one, not the first one. Oh, it was a header, wasn't it? It was set piece. Yeah, I think that's where I think that was one moment where Saka, I think, just didn't follow the run. I'm not sure how much of that was man versus zonal. It seems like we play like this blended combination of man and zonal, with the center backs playing the zone and the rest of the team sort of playing man. Could be miscommunication, could be, there's also a mismatch in terms of height there, but very, very good header. That man went through two players, Saka and Luiz, to bury that. And that's, I think, gave Leeds some gumption and some maybe they probably thought they could get something out of this. Bielsa made 2 changes at half as well to try and impact the game, and you could see that the way it was playing out. I think Leeds enjoyed a bit more of the possession, despite conceding one more right after, I think, 47th minute, didn't you say, Tony? But Leeds played really well, I thought, after the subs as well. And that header was very, very good. Yeah,
it was. Just fucking hell.
Just, I'm so, like, obviously people don't like David Luiz and whatever, but anyone blaming him for that is on some special kind of drugs. Schwinn said it's obviously a blend of zonal and man marking. It is purely zonal, but the ones on the edge or further out, so are meant as blockers. So I hate it when people go, "Oh, commentators say it all the time, like, oh, it's a mismatch. Saka's on, and it's going to be some 6 Dan Burn." And you're like, no, stop being stupid. Like you commentate on football every week. You know how zones work. And look, yeah, it was Saka's fault. He didn't block his man. He's not ever expected to go and beat him in the air. Just stand in front of him so he can't get a clean run. And then you expect your centre-backs to beat him on the air without a clean run. With a clean run, there ain't a defender on earth that's going to stop that. And there ain't a keeper on earth that's going to save that header. You've got a guy who's at least the same height, if not taller than Luis, with an unobstructed 10-yard run-up versus a guy who's basically got a standing jump. So the blocker's just not done their job. But again, because it's David Luiz, people just want to blame him. If it was Gabriel, it would be, it's unstoppable. And it was unstoppable. But because it's someone they don't like, they want to give a slightly different opinion. In terms of what Shum was just saying about them still being in it and then playing in the second half, I think we completely stopped at 4-0. And you could see Arteta got really worried about it. I think we went out 3-0, carry on. We know what Leeds are like. They don't stop. And then we got it to 4 and thought, they're not even going to bother now. They're just going to settle for next week. And Leeds just don't do that. And once you stop, it's near impossible to get back on it again. I think, like, even look at the way we played. I think after they got their first goal, I can't remember Saka touching the ball in an attacking sense, apart from the time when he hit the post, but he was offside. And I just think we completely stopped. And that's where Arteta's fear come from. He was very agitated on the touchline for the whole of the start. Well, since after it went 4-1, there weren't a second after that he wasn't agitated. Even they had the ball at 4-2 with literally 30 seconds left of stoppage time when Aubameyang went down. And he was there moaning. He had an argument with Bielsa, like saying you should have put the ball out. He was on edge the whole of the second half, and I think that's because we just completely down tools.
You do say there's not a goalkeeper in the world, but would save that. Look, mate, I've got I'm dirty. I should have mentioned in the lineup that Matt Ryan wasn't playing. I'm fucking dirty at Leno. He should have saved that. Matt Ryan would have saved it. I can guarantee you, mates. They need the next Superman. Okay. William comes on. Jeez, this bloke gets some hatred, doesn't he?
all deserved. All of it.
It is. But like, as soon as he comes on or does something, and if, like, I was on Twitter a couple of hours later, so it was obviously, but you can see him and just fucking everyone hammering him. I didn't think he had too bad a game. Like, he come on the 62nd minute. He replaced Smith Rowe, who I don't even think should have been out there to start with, but had a pretty good game as well. So whatever it was, it did work. But William come on, and I think it was just probably to give Smith Rowe a bit of a rest. So El Neni got back in and then after that, Schwinn there. That was the second goal from Leeds, actually, in the 69th minute.
Yeah, very, very, a very typical Leeds goal. That just really good movement, sucking players in and then creating space and releasing players into space in behind. And I think Hector Bellerin got done by there. Who I think it was Helder Costa, was it? Who whipped in the ball into the box and a comfortable finish. That's what it was, yeah. And very, very good finish, tidy. Leeds, I think, probably got a sniff, thinking that they could get back into it with 22 or something minutes to go. And they continue to hammer on. I mean, I think we did really well. And some of the subs, although, as you said, Tez, were probably to rotate and keep legs fresh. I think it was also to bring some more stability in midfield and experience with Willian. He may be struggling, but at least he has that experience that helps him make some decisions correctly and perhaps position himself correctly. I agree, it wasn't his worst game in an Arsenal shirt, but he just seems to not be able to impact the game. And I think the last few months have done his confidence quite badly. I think Arteta is just trying to play him into form a little bit. And with the Europa League coming in, I think we need that. if we can sort of get him on again, I think he can be an asset for sure. And I think Arteta is trying really hard to try and make that happen, because we have him, and it's going to be very difficult to get rid of him. So I understand. I do have questions about Martinelli. What's going on there? Feels like he hasn't featured in quite a bit. And I just hope it's nothing to do with the injury, because we need him, and we know he can be very, very devastating. He's a live wire, and he's one person who does not struggle to impact the game at all. So let's hope everything is good there.
I was actually panicking a little bit. Like, I was like, oh, shit, this is going to be typical Arsenal. There's still plenty of time for Leeds to get a draw here. You know, they can get 2 quick goals and there's a draw coming. El Neni came on. Odegaard went off. I thought that was a pretty good substitution, to be honest, because we all know El Neni, you know, he doesn't do a lot, but he can hold the ball up well. He can slow the game down, and he's not too bad at defending. You know, he's not like, you look at the bench, and I know where you're coming from, Schwinn, Martinelli, but Willian come on, and you know, that was the decision, probably due to experience as well, with Willian coming on as opposed to Martinelli. If Martinelli comes on and you're looking for another goal, but at that stage it was 4-1, wasn't it? Yeah. So
yeah, I'm not advocating for Martinelli to have come on, but I'm just putting it out there. I think Arteta made the right decision. Even with Elneny, I think I saw some people moaning about his subs, but I thought they were quite all right, especially with Europa League coming in. I feel like I've said this again and again, but I think we need our squad. We know that we don't have a lot of depth when it comes to quality, and when you have role players, then that's how you use them. And Odegaard played 80 odd minutes. I thought he had a good game, looked very comfortable, didn't seem to struggle with the pace or the physicality of the game, was confident on the ball. And we can do with him, you know, in subsequent fixtures, especially if it's going to be just Smith Rowe carrying that load. I think we need both of them fit. So I think the subs were just fine, in my opinion.
I can see Barcelona sacking a manager. They're down now 4-1 at home. Fuck. Wow. Then the last one, Rob Holding comes on for Ceballos. You know, we're talking the 89th minute. We've got 6 minutes left of injury time. Actually, it might have been 4 minutes left. But you know, like I'm not phased. I've seen a few, and only reason I'm mentioning subs, Tony, is because I did see a lot of people moaning about the subs. I look at that bench and I think, you know, I'm not going to be bringing a Pepe on. You know, we're down 4-2. I'm not bringing Pepe on. If anything, I'm thinking Pablo, maybe Chambers, but hasn't played for long. You know, Chambers hasn't really played much, so he's I don't even know if he's match fit or what the go is. I think that was all right substitutions for me.
Yeah, I mean, the only one that's slightly questionable is Willian, and the reasons that you two listed are correct, and it's the reasons he done it, which is fair enough, but people just don't like Willian, so they're going to moan regardless. He doesn't trust Martinelli defensively, so when you're 4-1 up, and as I said, he was massively on edge, then he's not going to bring on someone he doesn't trust defensively. If it was 1-1, we probably would have seen, or I would have expected to have seen Gabby, but it is what it is. The El-Neni sub completely made sense. Just naturally sits deeper than Odegaard. He's got a better engine anyway, but definitely after Odegaard's just played 80 minutes. And remember, Odegaard probably hasn't played 80 minutes since September or something stupid. So he doesn't have the energy in his legs anyway. And then Holding there's no doubt about it. Holding's our best defender in the, and when you've got a few minutes to go, Leeds have to get from back to front quickly. So you might expect some long balls, and you put your best aerial player on. None of them are too shocking. One thing I do want to say that I think you kind of glossed over or was way too nice about, it is piss poor from Hector for the second goal. I know Schwinn said, he kind of lost his man. He's got one job. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. He's just caught facing the ball. You could see it coming a mile off. It wasn't like it was a third man run or a quick 1-2. It was a nice reverse ball, but Hector's shouldn't be worrying about what the ball's doing. Just look at your winger. it's horrendous, and he does it all the time. Just switched off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I know. Look, the more I watch Bellerin, I don't want to keep singling him out, but Jesus, I look at this team and I think he's the weakness in the team. Centre defence. I know David Luiz. People are going to moan about he might throw away a red card or do something, and still, I think that last red card that he got was very harsh. But like, I look at this team and I look at Hector Bellerin as our weakest player. I was looking at the ratings they do, and he got the most. Would you believe 8.1 in the score? So
with the defender scoring, they'll usually bump up that figure. So it's probably skewed by that.
9.7. Sorry, 9.7 for Bamiyang with the 3 goals, but 8.1 for right. Fucking hell. I don't know how they come to it, but somehow. Man of the match, or actually 3-2-1, Tony?
Yeah, what should I do? All 3, yeah?
Yeah, might as well keep it easy for Jack.
Yeah, so for me, Saka was the best player on the pitch, but when you get a hat-trick and you win a game 4-2, that guy's got to get it. So I'll go with Aubameyang, Saka 2, because, as I said, he was the best player on the pitch. 1, I thought Danny was really good, but I don't know. Do you know, Danny and Odegaard, they've got this thing, they're just really easy to watch. And especially Odegaard, I think a lot of people noticed it. You come away thinking he done quite well because he's really easy on the eye. But then if someone said to me, like, oh, what did he do? Name a moment where he was involved or had an impact on the game. I ain't got a clue. Can't remember anything he done, but I'll come away saying he done well because he looks good. And Danny's like that a lot of the time. But I thought on Sunday, there was some more impact in it as well. Obviously, he got the assist for the 3rd goal and a lot of forward passes against a team like Leeds where you're going to get high press. I mean, it was obvious he was going to start because he's perfect for that. And I thought he broke the initial press time and time again. And Bielsa came out after the game and basically when they said, why did you lose? He said, we couldn't control Ceballos and Xhaka. So I know people are going to find it unpopular if any of us have got either of them 2 in our 3-2-1. But when the opposition manager lists that as the key factor in the game, you kind of have to listen.
Schwinn?
Yeah, it's hard to argue with Aubameyang getting the 3, and Saka, of course, up there. But I have to go with Granit. Granit for 1, of course, and I'm just going to speak on him because he just Tony said, right, that he's also quite easy to watch, I feel, and he just gives us so much stability in midfield, especially when Thomas Partey's not around. You're looking for a leader in midfield who can marshal players around him and set the tempo. And Granit does just that, and with so much ease. He's got very good vision, and there's obviously moments where, we are deep in our half, perhaps more towards the left or the right. So the fullbacks and the midfield is trying to get out of situations, right? And the way he's able to direct play and then switch flanks, it provides so much relief, especially against a team like Leeds that are going to try and press you and going to try and win the ball back. Just so important, crucial in midfield, making things happen, making sure we don't lose the ball, always recycling possession, using his body unlike any other player I've seen in the Premier League. He's just so smart in getting himself between the ball and the player, goes to ground easily, of course, then, and just relieves pressure all the time. And to see this sort of metamorphosis from where he was with that Palace game to sort of coming back to his position in the locker room, I feel that's something, man. I mean, not every player can come back from a moment like that. And I mean, I know fans are not around and stuff, but I feel with the fans coming back, I don't think anyone's going to have any malice towards him because he's putting in a shift week in, week out, barely gets injured, barely makes wrong decisions anymore. He's not getting those reckless fouls and red cards. He's very smart at impacting the game when it comes to professional fouls. And I am not worried about him ever when I'm watching him. And I think that says a lot, doesn't it? Because there's a lot of players that worry us in the squad. And to have someone like him who we can rely on, who is a part of the furniture, I think it's impeccable that we can rely on him. I'm very, very stoked that he's able to come back.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad you've actually come to your senses, Schwinn. You know, you're actually liking what you see, Granite.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I got derailed a little bit, especially when Doozy came into the squad. I had a feeling that, you know, with the natural progression of midfielders that we've seen in the Premier League, maybe we'll be looking towards players like Guendouzi. But Granit does so much and so effortlessly that I think managers that coach him understand that it's not just about the numbers. It's not just about, you know, what catches the eye, but he is so effective and just goes about his business without any issues. And for me, that's a big thing. And also, finally, when you have a midfield partner who is quite good in Thomas Partey and suddenly he's gone missing, to continue that level of play, it's not easy, because a lot of football is about partnerships. And for him, it doesn't seem to bother him. I think that's the true hallmark of a leader and someone who adjusts his play to suit his teammate. And I think that's fantastic.
Okay, yes, we are going 3-2-1, believe it or not.
Yeah, and I just spoke on him more because Aubameyang, Saka, we all know, you know, Auba gets my 3, Saka gets my 2. We all know what they did, but I just felt like, just like Ceballos, Granit also deserves a shout.
Yeah, well, Aubameyang my 3, Saka 2, and Granit 1 for me. It's a no-brainer. Like, if I'd be very surprised if Granit is not the player of the year on our 3-2-1s. On our 3-2-1s, because I'm sure he gets a mention here every week.
Thanks to you.
Why you?
I'm near positive he gets a mention every week. And look, those haters, like, you don't see them fucking haters whinging about Granit no more, because they're actually, you know, the trend has changed a little bit. So they're like, oh, I still don't know what he does, but he must be good because they say it on Twitter or somebody's saying it. Like, these people who just hate on players, I can't understand it. Like, fuck off. You're
Wait,
miserable.
weren't you just hating on Hector Bellerin like 10 minutes ago?
No, but I just look. Sharp, fuck off. Anyway, this is not the Hector Bellerin show. Okay, all right, let's go.
Yeah, I'm going to call you bullshit. Addy and Jack might not, but I'm going to call you bullshit.
Okay, boys, that's that. We do have a couple of questions, but before we get into that, I better play this one. We're not going to go 2 hours today. We're going to be flat out.
All the questions are from Schwinn, who's here. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll brief over them, but we'll play this first.
For Gooners everywhere, this is the ultimate football app for you. For match highlights, interviews, and the best Arsenal videos and podcasts. Download the free Gunners app now from the App Store and Google Play.
Okay, now I did have some here. Was it all Schwinn, was it? Yeah, good on you, Schwinn.
Just the one.
Yeah, there was like a thread of you and Liam and you and someone else going back and forwards, I think.
We'll have a talk. Who's Liam? Liam. Oh yeah, Liam. Schwinn asked, how was the first one not a penalty? This is simply bundled over, no intentions to play the ball. It's a stonewall penalty. If I've ever seen one, not even a soft, the level of refereeing is shocking. And I'm going to touch on this, though, because we did talk about the penalty. The refereeing in this Premier League this season, I think it is the worst I've ever seen it. I've never seen the refereeing so inconsistent in this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think I've seen it this bad, boys. I don't know what it is, but it's fucking shocking. Absolutely shocking. I don't think there's another league this bad. I don't know what you cunts are doing over there, but fuck me.
I think to an extent VAR's muddied the waters, which it was meant to do the exact opposite. One thing I will say is I thought Stuart Atwell, who I don't really rate, had a really good game on Sunday in our game. I thought he decided early on that he was basically going to let things go, and that's fine as long as you stick with that. And he did all throughout. You often find managers referees let things go, and then at some point in the game they decide, oh no, and they go the exact opposite, and that's just frustrating because something that wasn't a foul in the first half is in the second half. But for me, I thought he had a very good game. He managed the whole game in the same way. As I said, I'm not mad about the penalty decision. I think it could have gone either way. I thought he was right on the Leeds potential penalty. Well, for me, it wasn't even a potential penalty, and I thought it was right. But in terms, look, the standard of refereeing is horrible, and as you said, it's the inconsistencies that don't help. I mean, the Southampton game, there was a handball given and a handball not, and for me, the one that wasn't given was much worse. Neither of them were penalties for me, but the one that wasn't given was worse. You look at Diaz not getting sent off against Liverpool the other week. For me, never a red card, but you look at Luiz's and Diaz's is worse. There was a West Ham one on Monday where the guy is absolutely... yeah, I mean, he's absolutely wiped Lingard out from behind, has absolutely no chance of getting the ball, but they've gone, oh, because he attempted to play the ball, it's not a red card. But what's an attempt to play the ball? If you physically can't get the ball, I don't give a fuck what they think your intentions are. You're not intending to play the ball. And then they go, well, intent isn't part of the rules. Well, it obviously is, because that's what decides if something's a red card or not. It's like they have this phrases they throw out there that just completely contradict themselves at times. As I said, how can you, like the Barcelona penalty tonight, I know it's a different competition. They've gone, he didn't mean it, he didn't make a tackle, but it's a foul because intent doesn't come into it. But then something else is not a red card because of intent. It's like, it's just, the waters are so muddy at the moment that it's just a mess.
I hate blaming a referee for a loss of a game. Like, you know, like you see it, and so many people go, "Oh, the ref fucked up. This cost us the game." We shouldn't be talking about the ref, boys. We should be like, and obviously we're going to, because we're just fans like everybody else. I've seen a stat, and I have no idea if this is true or not, that West Ham have only received one penalty for the whole season. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
but that there is just, I don't even know who's ref their games, right? I haven't looked back at who the referee was. If it was the same ref they've had all game and he doesn't give them, I don't know. But just the inconsistency on that alone is, like, we've probably had at least 4 or 5 that I can think
that's
of.
not, but to me, in isolation, that stat is nonsense, because how many things have they had that should have been penalties? Just saying the team's only had one. I don't think Burnley have had any, or they might have had one. They have at Anfield. It was the first one they've had in ages. But that's not, that stat alone isn't bad. If there's instances where they should have had 5 or 6 penalties, then it's different. But just because some teams have got low numbers and some teams have got high numbers, I don't think that's an indication on refs or anything. It's just, okay, you got to look. This is where numbers do my head in, because a number on a piece of paper doesn't tell you anything about football, and I'll die on that hill. And I know Schwinn probably dies on the opposite hill. But for me, just saying, it's disgraceful that West Ham have only had one penalty. Okay, show me 5 other times where they should have had a penalty and they didn't get it. And yeah, I might agree with you. But just saying, they've only had one, it's a disgrace.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. I can't tell you if they should have or not, because I haven't watched all their games. But I have seen a few West Ham fans blowing up and saying we've had one penalty. I even think I think I've seen something from the West Ham account on Twitter, actually singling that out, that we've only had one, like basically having a stab that this is a joke, without saying it, because I'd imagine if they did, they'd probably get fined or something, I guess. But
as I said, they can tweet and say all they want, unless you show me or show the world instances that should have been a penalty that haven't been given. Then it's meaningless waffle. Like as I said, the number on its own, like Man United could have had 20 penalties, but they should have had 25, and then that number that's 20 becomes a joke. I'm making it up because obviously they should have had
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're coming from.
Just throwing it out there that they've only had one penalty, it's a disgrace. Well, it's not.
I think it was a hint, though. We should have had more, though, but they couldn't actually say that. They're actually 4th on the ladder, I think. Not doing bad, are they?
I think they dropped out of the top 4 when Chelsea won. But
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
as I said, it's just look. There's a lot to bash refs for at the moment, and they are notoriously bad. They're horrendously bad at the moment, and I agree with
They're
you. I think it's the
shocking.
worst.
Absolutely shocking.
I think it's the worst they've ever been. But throwing out things out there that either aren't true or unproven is not doing anyone favors. There's so much to bash them with that we don't need to start speculating. We don't need to go, oh, it's a disgrace because West Ham have only had one penalty. It's a disgrace because they make wrong decisions in almost like major wrong decisions in almost every game, and they're massively inconsistent. It's not a disgrace that West Ham have only had one penalty.
How do they fix it?
I think we went into it last week quite big. The VARs should be completely independent. They shouldn't know each other. The VAR shouldn't be named, and it should be a specific job. You're not a referee that sits in at Stockley Park at a weekend. You are a VAR. That.
We lost Tony there.
About whether you're going to.
He's still going. You've dropped out a bit, Tony. You're in and out, buddy.
Yeah, I was going to say you shouldn't care. It should be a VAR who that's their job. That's all they do. They're not a ref. They don't know the ref personally. They don't care about his feelings. They just give the right decision. For me, that would be a massive step in the right direction.
You agree with that, Schwinn? Because you weren't here last week, so.
It's very, very difficult. I mean, just to sort of zoom out a bit, I think more than the inconsistency, even the rules, they seem all over the place. And it seems like we're talking about a new rule that we've learned of every week.
It's hard to follow the rules, isn't it? Like, it's so many grey areas. Like, why can't they make it black or white? Like, yeah, I heard
the subjectivity of the sport is gonna make it hard to make decisions binary, and we understand that as viewers and as people who watch the sport, we understand that it's gonna be very difficult to make every decision correct, but we need the logic behind decisions to be correct, right? And at least to be understandable. And when you have people like Peter Walton coming on to during halftime and then whipping up some sort of rule that we've never heard of, and then within the next fortnight that rule is tested with very different results, it's so hard to understand how these things will manifest in a dynamic game of football.
Can I just butt in very quickly, Schwinn? Peter Walton has done the refereeing industry no favors whatsoever, because he always just sided with the referee. Which then when someone's later come out and said, the referee was wrong, it's now the ref's wrong, the VAR's wrong, and Peter Walton as the ref expert was wrong. So he's done him no favours there. And then also now he's stopped giving opinions because he's been hammered so much. So now it's now it's come across as, well, even the refs don't know the rules. It's not that. He's just been hammered so much that now it's pointless. I don't know why he's there now, because they go, what do you think of this? And he just goes, well, player A tried to tackle player B. And it's like, no one asked that. I've seen that. I've watched that. Like, give us the referee's opinion in it, and he's just stopped. So, yeah, that feature, and look, maybe that shows why referees don't come out and do interviews, because the standard of refereeing has set the standard of refereeing back. But Peter Walton being on TV has set the standard of refereeing back massively, or the opinion of referees.
Absolutely, I couldn't have phrased that any better. And I think a lot of the inconsistencies are a consequence of these murky rules. And I don't think it helps that, I don't think we've adapted the rules quite a bit to fit the technology. And we're sort of reacting to how we've seen the technology being adopted. And the problem is that we've not seen improvement. If anything, we've seen things become worse. And that's worrying, because it doesn't seem like there's enough of organization around the refereeing body that they've understood this, because you'd expect that, okay, there's a certain embedding period and you make changes depending on what the game is like in different countries. And of course, there's a different culture surrounding sports as well, right? So Italian football will be a bit different than French football, will be a bit different than British football. And that's understandable to an extent. Referees will have a bit more leeway perhaps in England, you'd expect, as opposed to Spain, let's say. But we're not seeing any of these improvements. And at some point, you have to hold people accountable, because yes, West Ham may have just gotten one penalty, but I think we can all agree that they probably had a good shout for at least one more penalty sometime in the last 23, 24 weeks, right? And that's where things get murky. And then the bias creeps in. yes, Jack Grealish gets fouled a lot, but does that mean that he's also a diver? We don't know. It's not that binary, and it's very difficult for referees to get rid of that bias. And that's going to be a very big struggle with technology coming in, and I'm not sure how to fix this. I think it's going to take time, and I have a feeling that at some point technology's use is going to be minimized in England. They're going to try and not use it for many things and restrict it to the do or die moments, and then just try and contain it there, because I don't think British football is quite ready for this sort of objective lensing of the game. It's a lot more nuanced here, I feel. And that's also because I'm much more tuned with British football than anywhere else. So I'm biased here as well.
They're late to the party to start with. They're the last ones that went out of the big three.
I completely disagree with the last bit of what Schwinn said, that they're going to tone back the usage. I think they'll go the exact opposite, which for me is why it's crucial to have the right people in the VAR room, which is why it shouldn't be current refs. I don't know if you know that Lee Mason, who was the VAR for both the Souček sending off, which was overturned, and the Bednarek sending off that was overturned, obviously, which led to a penalty, which can't be overturned. He's now been stood down from games this weekend. Mike Dean's been stood down from games this weekend. So for me, Mike Dean was the weekend just gone, I think. But either way, he got stood down for a week, and Lee Mason's been stood down for at least a week. For me, I can't. It's not going anywhere. They've spent too much money on it. It will put into jeopardy any football that's happened in the last 2 years if they go, no, we're now not going to use it or minimize it. And also, we basically tried to use it minimal last season, and it was an absolute car crash where the refs never went over to, I think until it was about February or March was the first time the ref went over to a monitor, which was insane. So for me, I completely disagree that they're going to strip it back. I feel if anything, they're going to push it more.
I remember us boys having this conversation when VAR come in, and it was coming in or been announced coming in. And we spoke about how good it actually was in the World Cup, like how it was used. What's happened here, though? Like, because in 2 years, it's gone from working pretty well in the World Cup. Like, I can't remember anything where they fucked it up, to, if they adopt that way of use, then it'll work. So the first season we didn't see that, and then, as you said, Tony, they brought in the ref running over to the monitor like they did in the World Cup, but still it's so fucking inconsistent. Like, they had a spot, they had the World Cup that basically set the standards for me and said, this is how you use VAR. And they got it fucking right.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of it comes down to we have horrible refs. And as I said, in the VAR room, it's just going to be another one of them horrible refs. They're also, and it's a big thing, and I've mentioned it 3 or 4 times now, they're all too close to each other. They don't want to overrule each other. They don't want to make each other look stupid. So they'll just go largely or not intervene with what the other one said. It's just a mess. And look, I think there is certain things that don't do anyone any favors. Like in Europe, especially, if the ball hits your hand, it's basically handball. There's no two ways about it. And we tried to implement that in England in the first few weeks of this season, and it was a joke. Some of the decisions that were being given were fucking insane. So we had 3 weeks of that, and then everyone knew it was insane. The manager, even I think it was Newcastle, they had a game and they got a last-minute penalty to draw 1-1 against Tottenham. And the manager and Callum Wilson, who scored the penalty, came out and said it's a joke. Like, that's never, ever a penalty. And so then they've changed the rules mid-season to kind of go back towards what we're used to in English football. But then there's always going to be the argument, well, that was given as a penalty last week, now it's not this week. And the refs are caught in two minds. Well, like, is it a penalty? Isn't it a penalty? And they don't know what they're doing. I think there's been too many. I don't know if they're not changes of rules. I mean, the interpretation of rules is all over the place. I don't think. Like, I can't remember the last time I heard a rule. I know Srin said earlier about changing of rules. I can't remember the last time I heard a rule and I thought, I didn't know that. I think they're all pretty well known, the rules, but the interpretation seems to change from week to week. And as I said, this like trying to decide if a player is genuinely attempting to go for a ball is ridiculous. Like you're never going to know, and we've had it for years with intent with tackles. I intended to try and hurt him, so it's this colour card, or he intended to handball it. So and look, 99 times out of 100, you're never going to know what the player meant. It's so messy. And look, I'm not going to pretend it's an easy job, but they are getting it so wrong at the moment.
Sugar Daddy responded to Schwinn. There's a bit of conversation going on. He thought the first one was a penalty, but the second one, the one given, was much lighter. So strange, he said. I've honestly never been more concerned about the level of officiating than I am right now. It's just disgraceful. So I think,
I saw that. I saw that comment, and I don't know on what planet that. Like, I like Clay. I don't know on what planet that second penalty is soft. Like, for me, that's amongst the most obvious penalties I've ever seen.
I thought it was. Yeah, I don't know how it's soft myself. Don't know. Clay's an American, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, like well, I'll get back to this level of officiating. It's everyone's got the same view. I don't know. Everyone who's watching it at the moment has the same view. Are the papers talking about it over there, Tony? Is it in the headlines? Is it every week are we seeing refs fucked up again? Oh no, that's not the headline, but are we seeing along them lines? Because we don't know. We're not in that country.
I mean, look, I don't read newspapers, but media in terms of TV media and like the internet media, Twitter, Facebook, etc., they're all over it because you can't avoid it. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Harry Maguire one the other day where VAR spent 5 minutes deciding if it was a penalty or not. He was offside. It was the easiest. Like, they spent 5 minutes looking at something that didn't need to be looked at, and then they decided it wasn't a penalty, which I'm still not sure is the right decision. And I've got some sympathy there because it could go either way. But all they had to do was look at it at the start and go, oh, he's offside. And again, when they asked Solskjaer about it after the game, should you have had a penalty? It was originally awarded. And Solskjaer went, he was offside. Why are they wasting everyone's time? Maguire's point kind of agreed with my point about Saka's first one. He said that he thought it was definitely a foul, but he said once the ref's given it, there's no way it should have been overturned because there was contact, and he's right. As I said, but the first thing is it should have been offside. But yeah, so often it's spoke about because it does just feel like almost every game now there's something that is a talking point. They didn't go too big on the Saka one, to be honest, over here. It's just, it depends game to game and incident to incident, really. The Leicester one actually didn't get too much press. Obviously the ref gave a penalty initially and then changed it to a free kick correctly. Well, arguably correctly, because we've seen something similar last week get given as a penalty. And then the goals got disallowed for offside, and then VAR showed it's onside, and he didn't touch it anyway. But yeah, it is getting attention.
Oh, that's good, because I look, I'm a little bit like you, Tony. I think it's going to go full continue. They're not gonna. They don't spend this much money and just go, oh yeah, but let's not use it no more. I also think later down the track, whether it be next season or something, I would like to see VAR into a separate little box, as we've discussed here, on their own. I also think we're going to see things like a captain's challenge pop up because, as you just explained, Tony, that Maguire decision, and they fucked around for 5 minutes and you're still not even sure if it was the correct decision. I'm thinking the blokes out on the field are scratching their heads going, do we get a fucking say in any of this? Can we, get you boys to check this shit again? And it's got to be independent. So not the blokes on the field checking it, an independent review team somewhere.
I disagree. I think it has to be the ref that makes the decision. I think for me, that is the main point, because then it sticks in the tone of the game. Like I said, for me, Stuart Atwell had a brilliant game the other day in our game. But if that decision goes to someone else who isn't letting everything go and gives every little touch as a thing, then you'll find something that isn't a foul in the centre circle is in the penalty area, and that's just insane. So
yeah, but if the ref gets it wrong, who's there to correct the ref?
No, but it's so the people in the VAR room should be completely independent, because at the moment they just don't want to tell their mate they're wrong. So it should be,
that's right.
You're wrong. Go and look at the screen to confirm you're wrong, but you're wrong. Like, go and have a look at it. Especially, and look, because when things are marginal, then it stays in the tone of the game because it's the same person making the decision. But for me, the captain's challenge idea, it keeps coming up. It'll never happen, and I'm not a fan of it anyway. But it won't happen because it will be used as time wasting. And then there's still going to be decisions like Harry Maguire was certain it was a penalty, and a captain's challenge wouldn't have made any, and obviously he is the captain, but it wouldn't have made a blind bit of difference. And people go, it works well in cricket, which is the only reason anyone ever gives for using it. And it doesn't. It's fucking horrible in cricket. We only have to, I mean, look, I don't want to go too much into cricket because people don't really care about it, but you only have to look at the last two tests between England and India, and it's been hammered on every single day of the test. Like, there's been at least one wrong decision every day, and they only get 3 challenges. So it's like,
I bet you they're all against you. That's why you hate it.
No, not they haven't.
Indians are loving it. I haven't watched the game.
The thing is, India refused to have it for the first 5 years.
They did, they did. Absolutely. Yeah, they did. I can see it working because I can see it. It works now in the NRL. It's come to a point, and the NRL are so
for fuck's sake, cricket and rugby. Oh my God. What is happening to us?
Listen to what I'm saying. The NRL started the VAR or whatever you want to call it. I think it was about 2000. I'm going to run with 99, 2000. So they got like fucking 20 years experience on what we're dealing with now, right? They have now gone to a captain's fucking challenge where it's after 20 fucking years of fuck ups and trying to fix it. They've got bunkers, they've got fucking everything they're throwing at this thing. For 20 years, they've been throwing it. And still, I don't know if they get the decisions right. But now it's come to a point where, okay, let's give the teams on the field a captain's challenge now. So, therefore, now they can actually say, oh, well, we'll use our fucking captain's challenge. Is it still working? There's still going to be decisions, boys, that are still wrong. Like, after 20 years, with bunkers, independent fucking setups, captain's challenges, and still getting it decisions wrong. So I don't know where it goes. We're going to be, 20 years down the track still sitting here going, well, is it still working? Because I think it will.
We can sit here speculating, and I think what I've said is what should happen, but the fact is nothing will happen. Nothing will change.
I'll just continue. If it gets a bad decision, gets a bad decision.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in the World Cup where Gary Neville was a pundit, and something he said, which for me hit the nail on the head, is that the TV directors, and this may sound stupid, they know how to find the best pictures and how to do it very quickly because it's their job. They have to get replay. A goal goes in, and they've got replays from 3 different angles, the 3 best angles within 5 seconds, always. So they need someone like that in there. Because the refs go, oh, they've got 20 angles to look at. Well, no, get someone whose job it is to find the best angles, who's very fucking good at it because that's what they've done all the time, and say to the ref, well, here's the angles you need to look at, and go from there. Like, I remember Gary Neville bringing that up, and it's so true that, like, you see something, well, why are they looking at it from like that? Or, I mean, slow motion does my head, and I don't think anything should ever be looked at in slow motion. It changes the context of everything. So there's that. But yeah, for me, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, I don't know. There you go. I actually had to Google it because there'll be NRL fans that fucking tell me to wake up. 1997 was when the video ref started in the NRL. So, and still here we are today, still not getting it right. They're still working it out. 2021, 2022 season. It'll still be a complete fuck up. Okay, a couple more questions. MAA Gunner, he says, do you think he'll play a front 3 of Martinelli, Aubameyang and Pepe because he's tried to do the two other times Martinelli was injured in the warm-up against Newcastle and Aubameyang had to go home for the Southampton game. Yeah, okay, good point. Tone?
It's just when. It's a strange one because last year Pepe looked much worse on the left than often on the right, and this year he's looked much better on the left. So do they now move him back to the right and then bring Gabby on the left? It's a difficult one. I mean, I can't
then
see
what
it
happens?
really.
And what happens with Lacazette? Like, is he like? I know you're just Europa League now because like it's.
No, look, as I said earlier, it's going to be horses for courses. And if there is a game, a type of system where he thinks them three will work best, then maybe he'll do it. I mean, the issue is that Saka is quite comfortably our best player at the moment. So, and I know, look, he's got the versatility of can play here, there, and everywhere. But every game he's played on the right wing, he's been exceptional. So, as things are at the moment, he is our right winger, which then means he can't play Pepe, Martinelli, Aubameyang.
Yeah,
and then if we're
right.
going to start rotating, is Saka the only one that rotates? Look, it probably won't happen. Who knows? Like, might happen on Thursday. Now we've said this, or if we win comfortably on Thursday, it might happen in the second leg when we can afford to rotate a bit more. I doubt that's going to happen, but for me, we're definitely not going to see it as a first choice, and I doubt we see it at all. But Saka's undroppable.
I was going to say that Saka, for me, he's in the starting lineup every week. Like, if you're not starting Saka, the three players, I'll say three, is Leno, Granit, Saka. They're probably your three players who start every week. It's probably going to be more, but this leads up to our next question. Sugar Daddy says, would you be putting Mary back into the squad over Gabriel now that he's fit, Schwinn?
Not really, not just yet. I think the first leg is going to be quite important. It'd be nice to get a comfortable result, and that will allow us to rotate a bit more and probably get players like Pablo Mari a bit more fitness come the second leg. But I think I would personally stick with Gabriel and Rob Holding for this Thursday. Although I wouldn't be surprised if David Luiz somehow sneaks into the team, but that my pick would be Holding and Gabriel.
Tony?
Tough one, because I'm going to be in the vast minority of Arsenal fans here that really doesn't rate Gabriel. I don't think he plays as a partnership with any defender. I think he tries to play his own game. And we have looked best defensively when it was Holding and Murray. The issue is, and Schwinn just kind of touched on it, the game's just coming so thick and fast that it's really difficult to give him a tune-up game, so to speak. Like Murray, he's been out for a while. He obviously he only played 6 or so games. Then he was out for a while, and it's going to be very difficult to get him back in now. But so potentially Gabriel stays in, but I don't know. I don't think Gabriel's in our best two. He may be individually. If you were to list all our defenders individually, he'd probably be top of the list. But he just doesn't work with anyone. Oh, I don't think he does.
I don't break it to you boys, but Benfica, they're no. I'm not breaking any news here. This ain't an easy game. I look at this game as we got to go into and we're obviously moving on to the Europa League game, but we got to go in with our strongest lineup, Schwinn, and we need to. I want to win this game at least 3-1 comfortably.
Yeah, remind me, is our first game home or away? How does it?
Well, it's at Rome.
We're away, but both games are neutral, but we're away.
We're away for the first one, is it?
Are both games neutral now, Tony, are they?
Yeah, Rome and Athens.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it might not be Athens, it's Greece. I'm pretty sure it's Athens. Wait,
I mean,
where are Olympiacos from?
They're not Athens.
Piraeus, is it? I think it's Piraeus. I think that's either way it's Greece. I mean, it don't make much difference. But yeah, we're away in Rome and home in Greece.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, a 3-1 victory would be great. 3 away goals would definitely help quite a bit. Especially, I think we play City on the weekend, don't we? So that's going to be a big game as well. And I think for that reason, I don't think we'll see Lacazette on Thursday. I think we'll stick with Aubameyang up top, Pepe on the left, Smith Rowe in the middle, and Saka on the right. I think that's how we'll shape up. But you're right, it's not going to be an easy fixture. They have 2 good center backs, lots of experience in there. They have some creative players up top. And yeah, they're going to come and want to play for sure. It's going to be a tough fixture, tough tie with City sandwiched in the middle. So this is not going to be a typical first knockout round game in the Europa League, and the next 10 days are going to be quite crucial.
When do we play City? I'm just looking. Is it
Sunday?
Sunday. Okay,
yeah,
so
Monday for you, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be Monday morning. Fucking 3:30 again.
It's the same slot we had Leeds in, so it's exactly a week after the Leeds game.
Yeah, okay. I just looked at the odds, boys, and we're just favourites, so 230 and 280, so we're only just favourites. So.
Do you know, I was thinking about this earlier. It's so weird this year that usually Europa League, especially the first and to an extent the second round after the groups, you usually had like FC no one gives a fuck and like fucking peasants FC. Like now, Man United have got Sociedad, we've got Benfica, and you think like, when the fuck did this happen?
Yeah, I know.
Just the luck of the draw, isn't it?
Yeah, but we won the group, so in theory you should get an easier tie. But Benfica came second to fucking Rangers. Like,
that's how we got them. Okay.
Yeah, and then United have come down from the Champions League, and I don't know. I assume Sociedad came second in their group. I assume, I don't know, but like, you think fucking we used to be playing like fucking teams that they're in countries you've never heard of.
This is I don't know. Yeah. I was going to say it's a good game, but a tough game. There's a few fucking teams in this Europa League now. Like,
yeah, I'm just looking through. There's some good fixtures this round too.
Yeah, oh fucking hell! Like, wow, yeah.
Lille play Ajax. That could be a fun game. Olympiacos, PSV. I mean, these are teams that, I mean, not Lille, but these are teams you'd find in the Champions League usually.
And Lille, I mean, they're not. You wouldn't usually find them in the Champions League, but they did drop down, didn't they? And they're top of the French league.
Yeah, and Ajax dropped down too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Leicester City is still in it, by the way. I don't know how they've managed to stay the way they have with all their injuries. I mean, what they're doing up in Leicester is phenomenal. I hate saying it because it's Brendan fucking Rodgers, but that team has something about it, man. This weekend, I watched them play Liverpool, and they're a handful bunch.
I said it the other week. I think me and Tony, when we done the other week, that for me, I just felt as though, and Tony corrected me, but at the time, I felt that they were the most consistent team. Like, if you're having a bet, like I was like, I'm pretty comfortable that they would win. But then I look back at the results because Tony said, yeah, but they're only just, they're getting a few draws and whatnot, and it's not that consistent. Like, they have lost some games where they probably should have won as well. So, but I still maintain it. I think they are.
Well, but this is where things change. At the time you said it,
it was
19th in the league. Like, they were very consistent. They were consistently shit at home at that time. But I think at one point they were the second best home away team and the 19th best. Vice versa. Sorry, they're the second best away team and the 19th best home team.
Where do you
but they got some very good. They got some very good players. But I mean, the Liverpool things are going their way as well. The Liverpool game, they were the second best team for 79 minutes and then scored 3 goals in 5 minutes. And look, you've got to be there to still be in that game. So all credit to them. But they've got their result. They've got a style that they're going to play regardless. And sometimes that helps. Sometimes it's a hindrance. There'll be certain teams where they're just never going to get any joy just because of the style they play. And it's usually against the worst teams. And it's no surprise that they've lost to the Fulhams of this world. They needed a last-minute winner against Sheffield United. These are not really surprising things with the way Leicester play, but they've got some very good players as well. Some very good players. I mean, Ndidi is possibly the best. I'm not going to include Partey in it because he's not played enough. Ndidi's probably the best holding midfielder in the league. And you don't get credit. Vardy's obviously Vardy. Maddison's unreal. Barnes, I don't particularly rate, but he's playing out of his skin.
Here's Tillman's gone.
Tielemans very good. Doesn't set the world alight, so doesn't get mentioned. Isn't a fantasy football player, so doesn't get mentioned. But very, very good player. They've got slightly some very good players. I mean, James Justin being out is going to be a big loss for them because they're going to have to shift things around. And their squad's not really that big, and Justin's out for probably the season. Well, definitely the season. So that's going to be an issue for them. But they've got some very good players.
Isn't it funny, like you see, like I've just looking at the first time I've actually looked at the ladder for a little while. Like Man City, like they will more than likely start running away with this league at some point, right? I don't know for the life of me. I've watched a couple of Man United games. I do not know how Manchester United are second, Leicester City are third, and Chelsea, they sacked the fucking manager, got a new manager, but yet they sit in fourth spot. Like West Ham with Moyes in fifth. Oh, fuck me dead. Oh,
But it's what I said this to you. I said this to you last week. You win. Tuchel's come in and won 4 games, and he's taken them from 10th to 4th. This league at the moment is so fucked that 4 wins, and because everyone's around you, because it is so tight, them 4 wins, at least one of them is going to be against a team that's in the same sort of conversation as you are. And so because there's 10 teams, naturally some of them are going to drop points. Like you look at any given week. This week, Leicester dropped points, Man United dropped points, Tottenham dropped points. There was someone else in and around that conversation that dropped points. And then the week before, it would have been Liverpool dropped points because they lost to City. Someone else would have lost to someone else, and that's just how it is at the moment. That naturally, when there's 10 teams in a race, at least 3, if not 5 of them are going to drop points in any given week. So if you're a winner in that week, or if you're a winner 4 weeks in a row, you're gaining points on so many teams. This table, it's silly because it's almost like it still doesn't mean anything when we're so deep into a season.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I'm going to just mention it quickly because I know you're not a big fan of him, but I watched Chelsea yesterday, and I think they've got a position there for Timo Werner. They played him. They played Abraham up front, and then Giroud came on in the 20th minute. I think he was. He got injured, but yeah, maybe that's his new position.
He's played there loads for them. The commentators were just. They've obviously been briefed to rate him for some reason, because every time he breathed, they commented on how well he breathed. It was fucking insane. Like they want him to do well so bad. I've never seen anything like it. Like they're trying giving him assists for something, and I was like, oh, he ran off his left foot across the ball. The keeper come out, and they're going, oh, Werner assist. Fuck off.
Did you watch the game? Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't watched many Chelsea games, but yeah.
No, he missed a sitter, and they went, oh, it's unlucky. He really deserved the goal there. Well, no, he kicked the ball over the bar. If you kick the ball over the bar, you don't deserve a goal, funnily enough. Like, and the goal he scored, he scuffed. Look, I've never said he's never going to score. I said he's no better than Theo Walcott, and I stand by that.
I thought he didn't play much in that position, so I thought he's dropped him back a little bit and taken a bit of pressure off him. That was all. So, but obviously not. Okay, boys, that's about us. We're just been ranting and raving. MAA Gunner did throw a comment up. Gabriel handball against West Ham. I'm not sure what we're talking about.
I think he's going on about. I saw it at the time. I think he's going on about West Ham thinking they maybe should have had more penalties. But whether you agree with the rules or not, by the rules, it wasn't handball. Look, I half agree it was handball, but the rule is the sleeve, and it hit him on the sleeve. For somehow football's decided that if your bicep is under your sleeve, it isn't part of your arm anymore, or it isn't handball. So by the rules, it wasn't handball. So that doesn't go down for me as a should have been a penalty that wasn't given. According to the rules, it wasn't a penalty. For me, the rules are bullshit, and I've been saying this on this podcast since day one. Pre-VAR, I've been saying I think a lot of the rules are nonsense, and that's one of them. But that doesn't go down for me as a VAR fucking West Ham over. That goes down as the rules are fucking stupid and everyone plays by the same rules.
Okay, you got anything else in the tank, Schwinn?
That's about it for me.
That's about it, mate. No worries. Thanks, gentlemen, and we'll see you all next week, I suppose. What do we got? Europa League, and then
City Sunday.
Might try and slot something in beforehand, I think.
We need to go earlier with the Champions League because it's silly. We're clashing with a big Champions League game all the time. We need to go either Monday is probably best.
Yeah, I would have liked to. Yeah, it's either that or later time because, this time slot was definitely no good, and a lot of people were watching Champions League, so which I had in the background myself. So yeah. Boys, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you to all you patrons who support the show. We will bring something out to you guys soon. Thank you again, and we'll speak to you all very shortly. Good night and goodbye.